Hello, everyone. Greetings in the name of the infinite intelligence and love. This is the fifth video in looking at the way we are controlled and programmed, and particularly now about solutions. I will put these videos with this title on till the subject is finished. There are much more things to speak about, but we have to also wait to see enough number of people wake up so this particular issue just vanishes. I must iterate for a while in the about the previous videos, due to the fact that we have to be reminded what the problem is before we understand the solution. So, how are we controlled? How are we programmed? Simple. We are controlled, of course, at the deepest level is attributed to the archontic forces that landed on this planet some time back. And now, which gets continuously worked at and propagated via their bloodlines, that becomes mostly all the politicians, all the special people of them, like celebrities and people of extreme wealth and things like that. And these people basically are used to program us. Politicians by passing law, the media by enforcing it, by constantly repeating till people are saturated, and then that makes their reality. So we perceive, decode, and that becomes our experience and the mode of our behavior. So, how do they control? The control, of course, is via chemical control. They control by poisoning the food, poisoning the air, and poisoning our bodies. Once that has happened, it's easy for them to program us. Now, so you have to know the role of the pharmaceuticals. I mentioned that before. Never ever think that they are here for your well-being and health. They are here to keep you sick, but keep you alive till you have exhausted working and paying them. And then they put you in their incineration camp, which is their morphine for you to die. I have mentioned that about the documentary, if you really want to know that, explained in details. In Lies We Trust, by David Horowitz. It is on YouTube, a couple of hours, well spent looking at it. So these pharmaceutical companies are the main way of their control. They start by vaccinating our children. They will be forever dependent on drugs, whether you want to believe it or not. Maybe not at the beginning, but it would develop. As Andrew Wakefield, one of the people who they demonized, the CDC, Center for Disease Construction, demonizes because he was one of the best people who exposed them in detail with long studies, not just what the CDC does to prove their safety, only 3 to 14 days. And the pharmaceuticals, if you want to see who they demonize, watch the documentary I mentioned, In Lies We Trust, because he exposes the pharmaceutical companies. And of course, he gets demonized by both pharmaceuticals and Center for Disease Construction. You might have people who practice this kind of doctrine in your family. Don't argue with them. That's a deep programming, and they are not going easily to give up unless they come to it themselves. We just have to withhold ourselves from our services unless we are hurt. Then you must accept their technology and of no choice allow them to put drugs in your body. Of course, they have technologies much better to fix our injuries than they let public. The public needs to be drugged and used as slave, period. For themselves, they can regenerate a hand in half an hour. I know most of you probably would not believe me. Just like you would not believe all the people who talk about the secret space program that goes on and on and on and on. And what technologies we have, they are not making it available to us. So, let's go to solutions. In this regard, what are you going to do? Seek real medicines if you feel like you need to prevent something or heal something. They have changed again, inversion to deceive us. They call the real medicine alternative. Things that have been here for thousands of years all of a sudden become called alternative. But the pharmaceutical companies that they popped up and started controlling the medicine and making us believe that that is the real is only short-lived, over 100 max. Mostly they start flourishing in 1930s. 1940s, they developed for Hitler all the concentration camps so they can experiment and figure out how to keep people alive, poison them, and kill them, and all the rest of the stuff. Protect your children. Use your intelligence, which is infinite, pure. Think rationally. What hurts your child is inhuman. You can justify it by science, the god of most people, money, the god of pharmaceuticals and companies, and religion, the gods of traditions and all the rest of the stuff. Infinite intelligence is rational. sees the reality and chooses to express it. Love demands of us to see the lies and speak about it. Protect yourself from poison. Most of the drugs they have put you on are based on totally irrelevant statistics and the standards that they establish for human beings so they can feed them drugs. Don't participate. The more you stay with them, the sicker you get. And if you go and mix real medicine with that, you won't get nowhere, because you can't put in the same cup poison and a panacea. I hope I'm getting through. Protect yourself. Protect the children. The other aspect is education you have to understand. Okay. They code the controllers. Make the education mandatory. You have to send your children so they can get conditioned and programmed. There's no choice. And if you don't go there, if you're unvaccinated, you can't even do that. Very convenient. And then, as you program, then they go to college, program. By the time you're finished, you don't know. The person doesn't know any other reality. Young, fresh. And then on top of that, they hand them a big loan with what they have to pay back. So they really believe what they've learned is really truth. And of course, they have to engage in what they tell them is the reality. The job they get to stroke them so they can pay back what they have slapped on their life, the payment they have slapped on their life. And of course, they have no choice because the jobs are well paying, of course. You know, if they stroke their back, since you're stroking their back, becoming their salespeople, on and on and on. So, parents getting groups. Find situation that you can homeschool your children. Every single one of you has some skills. Education depends on us, not school system. School system doesn't educate. In fact, they take anything that promotes education out. There is no pedagogy. There's only indoctrination and testing to see if they really memorized what they told them or they have told them. Yes, my children, because they were sovereign, they are sovereign, I let them go to school when they decide they really want to go to school for socializing. So I can't blame them eventually become indoctrinated. More understanding of love for me, how to love unconditionally, with blessing. But, okay, a degree becomes important just to pee in a public bathroom. One has to educate themselves. Look at the other side of what they are being told constantly. That is called critical thinking. Now it's all about censorship. Actually, people censor themselves. That's called political correctness. If you see a lie, don't speak. It's not what the public does. It doesn't conform to the stamp consensus reality. Reduce your engagement with Wi-Fi. I don't have to tell you, spend and waste your time and mine to tell you what the Wi-Fi should do. So use it as little as possible. Turn it off as much as possible. Yes, they're gearing our lives around it. Here I'm sitting using this vehicle for you to communicate with you. At night when you sleep, your phone airport mode, in another room, Wi-Fi is turned off. Not just shut down, turned off. Don't get anything that's smart. Smart means secret, military, armament, residential technology. Please, please understand that. Take time to know your body. Yourself. The doctor's not going to tell you, and they're not going to show you. In fact, these days, you go to the doctor stands behind a computer, punches in your symptoms, and he gets a whole page of drugs. Then he chooses his drug based on his expectations and understanding. He doesn't know any better. That's what he's been told that helps. Very few of them, God bless our families, who are engaged in them, they don't know. Don't stay ignorant, even if they want to. Know your muscles, know your bones. Simple. Just open a good anatomy book and just gaze at it and then feel it where it goes and how it goes. Later I tell you actually how to help that out also. But there are steps to be taken. They have forced you to believe there's only pills, drugs, and surgery cures. They passed the law. As though you were just pieces of things put together, chemicals put together. My friends, take education in your hand. Take education of your children in your hand. I know they're making it difficult. You have to be very creative to protect your children. They are now even starting to educate children at 6 years old how to masturbate, how to pleasure themselves. They're basically sexualizing the young children to normalize pedophilia, which all the controllers engage in constantly to do their satanic ritual to receive powers from the Archons and continue their rule. And if any of them public gets a clue and wants to know, he gets killed in prison. Very convenient. Or they investigate it after he dies. So no, there's no name calling or anything. There were people in England who provided, children for the ruling family. They only started investigating after he died. Very convenient. No, they want our children first. I mentioned the image of Baphomet, Satan, has their hands on top of two children. Get them young, you have them for life. That's why the Wi-Fi is so geared toward children. People actually make Facebook accounts for their unborn babies. How sad is that? They are telling their child, your image, who you are, comes from this, whatever that is, not the real infinite intelligence, the true human Wi-Fi that we are all one with, tuned into. That if you really understand that, you can see that by total shift of your mind can heal anything. Save your children. That saving our children is the first thing for changing this sick society. And people argue with you, and they show that how well adjusted, how rich they are compared to you that are renegade and barely scraping by. Remember what Krishnamurti said. To be well adjusted to a sick society is no measure of health. Mental health, I think. That's what he said. This would be a short video. I will come up more and more till this subject is finished. Don't forget to start your studies about yourself by understanding your physical vehicle, because you need this vehicle for the great spirit, the infinite intelligence creator can experience a diversity that your awareness is. I'm going to leave you with love and blessing.